the program list and the contact list for everyone to have as access on who to contact back to here with any questions or concerns. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and get this webinar started for you guys with the Hartford. So let me turn this over to Tracey Hagy-Kelly from the Hartford and let her go through the slide for you guys today.
Great. I want to start by saying thanks to Stuckey for hosting the presentation on workers' compensation. I'm excited to walk through what makes the Hartford different and how we can help you write more work comp. Before we get going today, let's talk about salt. You might be wondering, why in the world are we going to talk about salt? Salt is salt, right? Generally speaking, it's the same product. It's sold by multiple companies. Why do we value one brand of salt over another? There might be lots of reasons why one would value one brand of salt over another, but in the end, salt is just salt, right? Some people think that work comp is just work comp, right? But when you think about work comp and helping people who are injured on the job, the differences are much more important than packaging and price. Work comp is not just work comp. There are differences, and today we're going to highlight those differences for you. You're fine. So today we're going to be talking about the Hartford's work comp coverages and services. We're going to talk about how it will set you apart from the competition and be a trusted advisor. So let's get started. At the Hartford, we have a broad appetite, including the ability to write monoline. While a total account solution, writing all 3 lines of coverage, the work comp, property, general liability, and auto, might be the best solution for your customer, we're here for you when you need a monoline work comp quote as well. Not all carriers are willing to do monoline workers' compensation. We've written work comp policies that are more than $100,000, and it still fits small commercial. Because we define small commercial workers' compensation based on payroll, not based on premiums. So let's take a quick look at our thresholds. Business, personal services, retail, architects and engineers, veterinary and technology services, associations, those can go up to $6 million in payroll. Professional services and financial services, we can go up to $9 million in payroll. Manufacturers, printers, restaurants, wholesalers, schools, telecommunications, those can go up to $2 million. And then lastly, janitorial and contractors can go up to $1 million. So let's take a look at our basic package options. If you look at the screen here, how much would you pay to add all of those coverages in with other carriers? Do you think it's a flat fee of like $25 or $40? How about nothing? This is built into every Hartford Select customer policy at no additional charge. We talked about the robust appetite, so let's bring it back to salt. If you recall a few slides ago, once we poured the salt out, salt was basically the same. But when you really go through a work comp policy, you will see that there are important differences with the Hartford. With a work comp policy from the Hartford, you receive more than standard protection. The basic broad form endorsement is automatically included with the policies at no additional cost to you, and you can see them all listed right here. These add to the protection of your employer. We also have an extended broad form. In most states, our extended broad form endorsement can be chosen for additional protection for the small business owner. These extended coverages do have an additional premium, and that premium varies by the state that you're in. Our extended broad form is not intended to pick up coverages like longshore and harbor if that's truly their major operation. It's really intended for those incidental coverages, those incidental exposures that come with some of our policies. If you get injured on the job, does it really matter which doctor that you go to treat your injury? It should. The same medical services can vary in price by hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Not to mention, quality of care is not always a given. How many folks worry about going to a doctor that they don't even know? You can have confidence with the Hartford because we have an approved network of over 500,000 healthcare providers around the country with doctors who are experienced in workplace injury treatment. Earlier, we talked about how important it is to being a trusted advisor with your clients. Now imagine dealing with a stressed out small business owner who's dealing with a stressed out employee and you being able to recommend an approved medical provider within a certain radius from that injured worker's home. And there are more than 53,000 participating pharmacies throughout the United States that can fill prescriptions, usually with no out-of-pocket expense to the injured worker. Hopefully you're getting the sense that when it comes to workplace injuries, it does matter where you get the care. Once the employee is off the job because of an injury, there are lots of reasons why they and the employer need to get that employee back to work as soon as possible. What are some of the reasons why? We're going to take just a second so you can chat some of your ideas on why you think it's important to get those employees back to work as soon as possible. Okay, we're getting some good feedback. Not earning a full salary, claims cost increasing, employee emotional state, employers paying for work. Claims experience and expertise makes all the difference. How an insurance company handles a claim could impact the life of one of your client's workers forever. Is there a comprehensive approach to care? Will my insurance company stand behind my employee and me for the long run? And what about the productivity, employee morale? The Hartford Comprehensive Approach to Workplace Injury Claims addresses all of these concerns. We bring together the resources that provide quality of care while facilitating return to work programs and managing the cost. In fact, with our strong industry experience, the Hartford gets injured employees back on the job 6 days earlier than without the comprehensive claims approach. The Hartford has been writing work comp since 1913, and it is our most profitable line of business. Remember, work comp isn't the same as cutting a check for a new roof. With the Hartford, we have work comp claims team, which includes a nurse case manager to coordinate care with the claims handler, to work with the employer, and all the involved parties to help the injured employee get back to work. So if you don't mind, we're going to use your chat again. I'm going to ask a question. Which industry do you think has the most risk for slip and falls? Okay, we're going to give it just another second. We're getting lots of answers. Manufacturers, restaurants, medical, retail, those are all spot on. Think about it. This is a simple preventative measure for a spill that could cost employers big bucks and employees with their long-term livelihood. The Hartford has partnered with Shoes for Crews to offer significant discounts on quality slip-resistant footwear. By making slip-resistant shoes more affordable for employees, you can help them reduce the likelihood of painful slips, trips, and falls, as well as absences from work. So what do you think is the scariest on-the-job injury for a healthcare worker? It's HIV, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C. It's a real threat for healthcare workers. Think about the potential that a med technician, a nurse, a doctor, or even a dentist can be struck by a contaminated needle. Not a pleasant thought, but it's very real and very common. In healthcare practices, this program covers the payment for the initial testing for your employee, and when the source patient is known and consents, we also reimburse for testing for the source patient as well. Reimbursement for the testing of the source patient is not a benefit offered by other carriers. So the Hartford delivers superior products and services. We have superior claims handling and cost controls. We also provide exceptional injured worker support, but that's not all. How would you feel about being able to help your small business owners eliminate large down payments, manage cash flow, especially to businesses that have seasonal payroll fluctuations, lessen audit surprises by basing workers' compensation premium on actual payroll rather than an estimate? Payroll billing is a type of billing available on workers' compensation policies. It calculates the customer's work comp premium based on the actual payroll amounts for that pay cycle and allows the Hartford to automatically withdraw the customer's premium from his or her bank account. Payroll billing is ideal for accounts who have had large audits in the past. It is also ideal for seasonal businesses, like a wedding dress store or a restaurant. A small business owner can report payroll monthly, twice a month, every other week, or weekly. We talked about workers' compensation with the Hartford and the Hartford service. You know that it's important for your customers to carry work comp and choose a carrier with claims experience and expertise. The Hartford has been standing behind its small commercial clients with workers' compensation since 1913, just after the first state law requiring workers' compensation was passed. That's over a century's worth of experience at your fingertips. Not only do we have the experience and expertise, but our financial strength and our stability mean that we keep our promises to you, your insured, and their employees. So I hope when you leave here that you're going to remember that SALT is just SALT, but work comp is not just work comp. Now that you know, begin using the great offering of workers' compensation with the Hartford as a way to bring new customers to your agency. When you leave the call today, I want you to think about which of your customers can begin reaping the benefits by being written with the Hartford. So we've covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time today. We're now going to open it up to a few questions. And if we don't get to answering all of the questions today, then what we will do is we'll recap those and respond back individually through email at the end of the session. Okay, so the first question.
How do you feel about ag exposures, farmers, cotton gins, customer applications?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, Hartford is not a market for ag exposures.
How do we get training on your website to start quoting work comp?
So all workers' compensation is currently quoted through Kyle and Kerry at the Stuckey agency. So if you have any questions on that, you can certainly reach out to them, and they will help facilitate getting you a quote.
And work comp for exterminators?
We are not a market for work comp for exterminators. We can do auto for exterminators.
How do they handle fraud?
How do we handle fraud? So Hartford is very focused on handling fraud and making sure that we capture it as early as possible. We have a fraud claims unit who specializes only in what we believe are fraud cases. So we are diligent and we work very hard on behalf of you as our agency and on behalf of our policyholder to make sure that we are preventing and nipping fraud in the bud.
Next question is, does Hartford have an appetite for bars, taverns, and restaurants with high alcohol sales?
So Hartford does not have an appetite for bars. However, if you have a restaurant that has high alcohol sales, we certainly would entertain that for the workers' compensation line.
Next question is, what kind of contractors do you write?
We love artisan-type contractors. Now, I'll go through a couple of ideas on those, but I do want to put an asterisk there that there are some states where we're not writing contractors right now, so you'll want to run the state specifics by Kyle after the meeting. But we like artisan-type contractors, so someone who's doing flooring installation, someone who's installing cabinets, someone who's doing electrical work, someone who's doing HVAC or plumbing. But we really want the specialized artisan contractors. We are not looking to write handymen or handy persons, people who do a little bit of everything. We want the person who specializes in one trade.
Does Hartford write new ventures?
We do write new ventures for workers' compensation. The only class for work comp that we require years in business are contractors. We require 3 years in business under that named insured for contractors, except for lawn care, landscaping, and electrical workers. Those we can do new in business, as long as they have some management experience.
Next question is, if someone slips and falls, how long do they have to file a claim?
I don't have an answer for you on that, but I can certainly look into that.
Next question is, do you have a minimum payroll?
Yeah, minimum payrolls vary by state. The states set up what the minimum payrolls are.
I don't know. How many more questions do you want to go through?
Maybe we'll just take 2 more questions.
Does work comp include any coverage for unemployment benefit claims?
No. Unemployment benefit claims are handled through the state.
Do you have any interest in home health care services?
Not at this time. Hartford is wide open for outpatient health care, so like your surgical centers, doctor's offices, dental offices, chiropractors, we love those. But if it's actual in-home health care, we're not a market for that, for the work comp.
Okay, well, at this point, there are several more questions that we were going to go through and get back to you by email because there's just too many to answer here at one time. What we'll do is forward out a recap email to everyone that attended or was registered today. And I'll have a link to the webinar again to watch if you were unable to watch the broadcast today or see the entire broadcast today. We'll have answers to the questions as soon as we can, and we'll have links to our contact points here in the office. I want to thank you again for joining us today, and thank Tracey for being here to do the presentation for us. And look forward to the next webinar and hearing from you guys shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.